morning, everybody. Welcome to Coffee with Todd on February 7th, 2021. Coffee?
Yes, please.
Yes, please. Wait a minute. Ah, I do have that sign there. I couldn't remember which signs I had. Welcome to Coffee with Todd from the frozen and snowy tundras of northern Vermont, where we have shoveled more this past week than we have shoveled the entire winter so far.
Yes.
I think up until Monday or whatever, or Tuesday when we got snow, I'd only really meaningfully shoveled the driveway 2-3 times. I've done it 37 times this week. Good morning, Joanne. Of course, today is a national holiday for many people. It's the Super Bowl. Da 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 da. Morning, Lindy. Down in Florida where it's not freezing.
Yeah, right.
What is the temperature here this morning? I didn't even look. I'm going to look right now. 12 degrees. It's 12.
That's balmy.
It's a balmy.
Balmy 12.
It's warmer than it.
What? Mine says 16.
Well, it must be a lot colder over here where I am.
You're getting a draft. My phone says 16. Don't know.
Huh. All right. Well,
Even the weather app's confused.
it is. Well, you can't have coffee with Todd without coffee. Let's see what happens here. Oh, it's pretty good. There's a little bit of splatter going around here. Just gotta take it easy. Oh.
Take it easy, you guys.
I almost slipped. Oh. So my dad and my stepmother are down in Florida, and they say violent thunderstorms and pouring rain today.
Oh.
But 73 degrees.
Oh, wow. That's definitely warm.
Huh. Well.
The other part doesn't sound good.
Well, there's no place on earth where the weather is perfect 24/7. Except on Coffee with Todd. The weather's always perfect in here. Morning, Paul. Yeah, so hey, we're going to have some fun today. Of course, it's Super Bowl Sunday. That's why I'm wearing my Titans jersey. Go Titans. I know they're not in the Super Bowl, but it's the only jersey I have. And I would really like them to get to the Super Bowl someday. So come on, Nashville. Get it. Ooh, tornado watches all night. That's not fun. Hey, on the show today, a good friend of mine, Adam Rabin, is going to be joining us. Adam Rabin is a solo singer-songwriter. He's also in a band called the Elephants of Scotland. They're kind of like a progressive rock band. We're going to be chatting with him and seeing what he's up to. And also, we'll be telling you about our unique connection, where when we met, we realized we had something in common. And on next week's show, we're going to go out to where it's probably even colder than where it is here. We're going to go to Edmonton, Alberta, Canada, and we're going to talk to Rob Heath. He's a singer-songwriter out there, so I'm very excited to talk to him. And I got to tell you, I have guests lined up for a while, and I'm so excited to talk to each and every one of them. It's getting fun over here on Coffee with Todd. That's right. It's a good morning to stay inside and enjoy coffee with Todd. We've got to figure out, like, this summer, if we can get a live stream going from the beach or something.
That would be cool.
Yeah. Anyway, let's get the show started, shall we? So grab yourself a cup of coffee. I'll be your Todd. Coffee with Todd starts right now. All right. Well, it looks like we might be having a little bit of technical difficulties here on Coffee with Todd, so I'm just going to do a little tech stuff here real quick. It says it's sending data. It hasn't sent yet. All right. Well, okay. We're live on YouTube. We're live on Twitter. We're live on my page, my music page, but for some reason my personal profile hasn't taken this yet, so I guess maybe I can share it. Sorry for the technical difficulties, folks, but we gotta get this up and rolling so everybody can enjoy Coffee with Todd. Thank you for sharing it, Adam. Adam's our guest. He's coming up in just a couple minutes. Let me show you his smiling face. All right, and I've got to go to... All right, well, that's... Okay, so yeah, Adam Rabin's going to come up in just a few minutes. I'll sing a song, but first what I want to do is I want to share this to my regular profile, because for some reason... All right, share, right post, share it here. Post. Okay, well that's one way around it. Oh, technical difficulties. We've had a good run of having no real technical difficulties, haven't we? All right, is this on now? Do we got it?
Oh.
Okay, well that's...
You said you shared it.
Yeah, I shared it. All right, well, I don't know what's going on, folks, but the show... It's still sending data. I don't know. Anyway, welcome this morning, February 7th. It is Super Bowl Sunday. Artwork by Danielle. We've got the two teams. We've got the Kansas City Chiefs logo here and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers logo here. And me, I'm rooting for the Titans. That's correct.
How do I see it now?
Yeah, but is that me sharing it? Or did it come up on my actual page?
Oh, it says you're live now. Look, just look real quick. Is that right?
Yeah, that's because I shared it.
Oh, okay.
Well, I don't know.
Okay.
Well, hey. I don't know. Anyway. We do what we gotta do. And we does what we does. What we does. The one thing we got is we got coffee. Good morning. Good morning, Rita. Good morning, Paul. Go Sports. Yeah, I don't know why. I don't know why. I don't know. I pay for this service that sends my show to YouTube and to Twitter and to Facebook, and it sends it to my personal profile and also sends it to my music page. And for some reason, my personal profile isn't awake yet. My personal profile hasn't had any coffee. And that's okay, because I just shared it to my personal profile. Unfortunately, I don't know if as many people will see it that way, but it's a little frustrating because I pay for the service and it cost me money. Speaking of that, here's my donation links to help me keep paying for this service that didn't work very well.
Maybe it's just frozen today. It's cold.
It could be frozen. I don't know what the deal is. But anyway, we found a workaround. That's what we do. We problem solve here on Coffee with Todd. We found a solution. We shared it from my music page to my profile page. Well, when times get hard, I don't get down. It's easier to walk when you stand. Well, I may not have a whole lot of money, oh, but I'm just fine with who I am. Now I've had ups and I've I've had downs, but I'd do it all over again. As long as I have you here on Coffee with Todd. Well, the devil will never win. Oh, no, the devil will never win. The devil will never win. As long as I keep on keeping the faith, well, the devil will never win. Some dreams get lost in space and some stay here on land. So I keep on moving along with every chance I can. Oh, the devil will never win. The devil will never win. As long as I keep on keeping the faith, well, the devil will never win. So I said a times get, oh wait, oh no, I forgot the words. Oh yeah, lonely times, I remind myself, no one's here alone. So if you can see it too, brother, you're already home. Because the devil will never win. The devil will never win. As long as I keep on keeping the faith, well, the devil will never win. Now the devil will never win. The devil will never win. The devil will never win. Oh! Good morning, everybody. Hi, Lucy. Susan, good morning and happy birthday. I saw that it was your birthday on the Facebook this morning. So happy birthday. Good morning. Holly, Leah, and Champ. Oh, Champ is watching. We haven't met Champ yet. I guess Champ is my nephew.
Dog nephew?
Dog nephew? Yeah. Yeah, they got a new dog. It's a boxer, I believe.
Yeah.
We haven't met Champ yet, but we're looking forward to it. And hi, Leah. Let's see. I'm just going to check my technical difficulties, and there's still difficulties. So, what are you going to do? If you could do me a favor, so we broadcast live to 4 platforms, and one of them is down. My main Facebook page, apparently this is not broadcasting to. So if you are watching this broadcast and you hit the share button and you share it to your profile, that would help us a lot, because I would say probably 3/4 of the audience watches on that one page that's not working this morning. And that, folks, is computers. There's no other way to explain it other than computers. But maybe, I don't know, maybe we'll have to do a test later on. Maybe you'll get an afternoon coffee with Todd sometime this coming week so I can figure out what's going wrong. Hey, it's Super Bowl Sunday. I hope you're excited. If you're not a football fan, you probably don't care at all. You can watch reruns of Andy Griffith on TV Land, I suppose.
There we go.
Because everything else is going to be, hey, Susan, you got me good. Yeah, we were just talking. We don't know. Something's happened here. Something's happening here. One of my pages isn't quite clear on what it's supposed to do for Coffee with Todd. Yeah. Hey, if you'd like to get one of these cool Coffee with Todd coffee mugs, it'll be sent right to your door. All you got to do is click the link in the description of this video, and there'll be a link to order one. We'll send it to you with love and care, and you will help support this show and keep it on the air. That's one of the awesome ways you can show your support for this show. If you've got the means to do so, we have a link here with the donation links that help us pay the cost to keep it on the air. But if you don't have the extra funds to do that, by all means don't. The show is free. The donations just help out a bit. You can always get yourself a CD if you're sick of listening to me on Spotify. Hey, here's the one deal. If Spotify goes out of business, this CD will still be here. Now, it doesn't look like Spotify's going out of business anytime soon, but just in case, CDs, they's forever. They're like diamonds. Okay, let's get our guest on here. I agree, Susan. The most important thing about Super Bowl is the food and the commercials. Yeah. I got to read this quote in case you guys are on a different platform. This is the best quote ever, Susan. The most important things about Super Bowl are the food and the commercials. Otherwise, I don't care how many baskets they get. Oh, that's fantastic. All right. My guest this morning is Adam Rabin. He's from Burlington, Vermont. He's a singer-songwriter. He has a band called the Elephants of Scotland. He's got his own stuff. And we are going to check in with him right now. Hopefully, this link works since everything else is broken this morning. Sure, Susan. Do we have 2 cups of coffee left in this pot? She wants to order some coffee.
Oh.
I don't know if we can mail it.
I think we might.
Oh, she wants coffee cups. I need to learn how to read. Yeah. Yes. Yes. Yes, Susan. You can order a couple coffee cups. Send me a private message and we'll figure out how to get it to you. Oh my God. I thought you wanted to order a couple cups of coffee. I'm like, well, I guess we've got some coffee left.
It might be a little frozen.
It might be a little frozen.
Iced coffee.
Oh, my Lanta. All right, Adam's here. Let's get him on here and let the shenanigans continue with Adam. So our guest today on Coffee with Todd, singer-songwriter Adam. Good morning, man.
Good morning.
How's it going?
Oh, all's well here, down south.
Down south
in Burlington, Vermont.
Yep.
How's it going up there in Orleans? You're in Orleans?
Yeah, southern Canada is where we are.
Yeah.
It's good. It's good. The weather systems are different from Burlington to the Northeast Kingdom for sure.
Yeah. Well, as you know, we go up to Newport on a regular basis.
Yeah.
To visit my wife's mom, my mother-in-law. I missed the introduction. I missed your introduction of me. So I don't know if you had said that you were on my show a few years ago when I was running a podcast.
I haven't yet. Okay.
So you were saving it. You were saving it. That's fine.
I was saving it. Yeah.
But I used to do a community radio show / podcast down in Burlington up until just a couple of years ago when I had you on. You came down with your girlfriend and did a few songs and we talked for an hour.
Yeah.
And before that, like a week or two before, when your person wrote to me and said, "Hey, I got this guy who wants to be on your show, Todd Pronto." And I was like sitting on the couch. I was like, "Oh, I got an email. Hey, honey, I got an email. This guy, Todd Pronto, wants to be on my show." And she says, "I used to babysit for him." And I was like, "Oh God, Vermont, man, it's so small."
I know, right?
Yeah. So my wife is from, as you know, is from Newport. Grew up, and I grabbed her, I pulled her down south to Burlington, Vermont.
Got her out of the sticks.
Yeah, out of the sticks into the less sticks.
Yeah, I've known her forever. Of course, she was my babysitter, and then in high school, when my band recorded, we recorded her brother Steve had a little studio down in the basement, and go ahead. Oh, I was just gonna say it was like 4-track tape,
Mm-hmm.
like a Tascam or Fostex or something, and some microphones, and it was like the coolest thing on earth.
Yeah, he's a cool guy. Now he's my brother-in-law. So he was up until about 2 years ago, he was the bass player for Rough Francis, and he and their drummer ran their studio, Rough Francis's studio down on Pine Street. And yeah, Steve's a great guy. And in fact, over my shoulder right there, I think you saw me play with this.
I might have.
So for like a few years ago for Christmas, he bought me a kit. A cigar box guitar kit.
Oh yeah, I saw the Facebook video the other day.
Yeah. So I had to put it together. I finally got around, all these years later. He gave it to me like 4 years ago or 5 years ago. And I finally, what with the pandemic, I have a lot of time on my hands. So I was like, oh yeah, you know what? I got that cigar box kit. So it's really fun. It's
how many strings are on it?
It's one string.
Just one string.
Tuned to B. I don't have my slide handy. You have to play with a slide.
Right.
But yeah, it's fun. So he's a musician. He's a nerd like me.
Yeah.
Always finding fun stuff to play with. He likes the toys.
Toys are good.
Yeah.
I did my first tour ever with his band. We did a show in Waitsfield, Vermont. He was in a band called Sandoz in high school.
Sounds familiar.
And we crammed into the back of a van that didn't have any seats and played the show, and then ate at a Denny's at like 3 a.m. and I was like
you do.
This is gonna be my life.
Yeah. And what do you think so far? Is it everything you had hoped?
It hadn't got much better.
That's either a really really good thing about your old times or a really bad thing about
yeah. I eat at
times.
Denny's less now.
Okay.
It was my first experience. They had been touring quite a bit. And they had a rider in their contract. I didn't even know what that was. Yeah. And like dinner was provided to us at the show.
Nice.
And they had somebody like hand me my guitar before I went on stage and then take it after. And I was like, whoa. And that rarely has happened since.
Yeah. I've only played a few of those shows where they take care of you. It's usually like a club gig or you're playing Nectars and you say, you can hang out in the basement until the show. But yeah, I've played a few, my old band, we played a couple festivals, one down in Gettysburg, one up in Quebec City. And you get treated like a king for a couple hours. Yeah. And it's nice, when, especially festivals, you probably experience this, a lot of them, not all of them, but a lot of them, they really appreciate that you traveled all this way and they want you to put on a good show and they, It's how they can't always pay you everything, so they can show their love, and it's legal tender in my book. Yeah.
It's always fun to feel like a rock star for a few minutes.
Like a rock star.
Yeah, and at this point, I think either of us would agree that even playing in a gas station at this point in front of real people would feel like.
Yeah, I got to tell you, I'm nervous just about like what we're doing here. I haven't played, I haven't played a live gig of my own music, where I'm singing and playing guitar or keys in just over 3 years.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. I've done some improv shows at the Comedy Club, up until about a year ago, obviously. And, that's fun. Just sit on the piano and help the performers make up songs. But yeah, this is like literally the first time I've picked up my own guitar, my own keyboard, and played my own songs.
Oh wow!
In a long time. So
breaking you out of retirement, or?
Well, I don't know if I'd call it retirement. It wasn't. It was just how things went.
Yeah.
I was used to be, I've traditionally been just like a basement, studio kind of guy. And it was really not until my late 30s that I really started taking playing out seriously. In fact, the first thing in 2008, I started playing with an 80s cover band, which is a weird little thing for me to do because I was always writing my own little nerdy instrumental, my own, originals. And then to start playing, 99 Red Balloons and Safety Dance, I was like, huh, this is fun. It's another side of music that I hadn't really explored. I'd always looked down on it, and there's no way I would still be doing it. I was in the band for like 5 years. I'm good. But I'm glad I did it because it kind of got me back into the performing frame of mind in a way that I never really was before. Really serious, like, oh, we're professionals. We're getting paid at the end of the night. So I gotta show up,
Right.
So it was a nice little kick in the pants for me musically.
It's interesting too because you used to be able to just record and put out albums and do okay with it, but now.
Well, if you were one of the very few that got signed to a label, I think, is it better now than it was before? There's the highs are lower, but the lows are a little higher, I think.
Yeah,
by that I mean, with everything available, streaming wise, downloadable, it's democratized. I am never going to make a living making music, but I can buy some gear now. I can get an album up to the web for people to buy for next to no money. Now that I have all the equipment, I don't have to spend $1,000-$1,500 on printing CDs. That first $10 I make is going right into my pocket, not paying off the CD manufacturer or the store commission or any of that other stuff. Yeah. So now, if I want to get, I just got a new snare drum for my drum kit. Not, it's not a mortgage payment, but I don't know if I would have been able to do that, 20, 25 years ago when I was starting out playing, and lugging gear around.
Speaking of that, because I know you play guitar, I know you play keyboards, I know you play drums, so you're a multi-instrumentalist.
Yeah. By necessity, I think, and by boredom. I'll write a song and it's like, oh, this song needs an electric guitar. I should learn how to play electric guitar. I mean, this is all transpiring in my late teens and early 20s. And I think my first instrument. So I started playing organ. My parents bought me an organ. One of those 2-tier organs. Some 80-year-old lady came over once a week when I was 8. Taught me all the scales and that kind of thing. And then my brother, he got a guitar. He's an electric guitar whiz, and so it's funny, I have my 2 keyboards right here, kind of reminiscent of my old two-tier Wurlitzer, but I picked up the drum kit shortly after, in my early teens when I was like 13 or 14, just because drums, right?
Yeah, sure.
And then little by little, and then my brother showed me a few chords on his guitar, and just, as the songwriting started to pick up in my, when I was 19, 20, and I really started to take songwriting seriously, it was part the art of songwriting that I wanted to explore, but also the songwriting became a vehicle to explore these different sounds, these different instruments. Yeah. And see what is in this guitar. There's something in there, and I need to pull it out.
Right.
And the same with the electric guitar over there.
Yeah, and you do, with the music that you do, you certainly have a lot of different textures and colors in it, which is...
Oh, thanks.
Which is really neat, yeah.
Yeah,
and it's cool that you could do it all yourself. Like, I mean, if I play guitar, and that's it, So
I hear you. I bring up my brother. He's just guitar. I mean, he can bang around the kit or the keys as needed, but I mean, really, he's like 99% electric guitar, and he is phenomenal on the guitar. He is a master guitar player. I'm a jack of all trades, but a master of none, as they say. you know. So like I can pluck something out. I can do I'm pretty good on the keyboards and the piano. I'm, you know, a little better than average there. But the guitar, you know, I'm like, I can hold my own. I can support the song I'm writing. If I want a solo, if I want like a really cool lick or something fast, I got to bring in a friend,
Yeah.
you know, who's actually a guitarist, you know, who is one with their guitar and can shred or just be quick or, you know, that kind of thing. It was great, you know. So going back to Hot Neon Magic, when I was in that '80s cover band, that was a perfect example. Two of the guys from that band ended up being in the progressive rock band that I started up. That's how I met them, through the '80s cover band. I was like,
Oh,
you
cool.
two are into the same other music that I like. You guys love Rush. You guys love Yes. Let's do something, you know, now that we know 50 or 60 or 80 songs from the 1980s, let's make up some weird like 8-minute long odd time, you know, tunes.
Yeah.
And I couldn't have played what they played. You know, our drummer was like, you know, all Neil Peart, and
Oh God.
the guitarist, he was, you know, a real Eddie Van Halen disciple, and he's, you know, he can do the tapping and the licks and the fast. I can't do any of that.
No.
So it's, you got to know when to, you know, obviously this year I'm doing everything myself. But, you know, there's, whenever possible, I like to bring more people into the fun and see
Yeah.
what flavors are broader than just, you know, what's in here.
That's a good skill to have, though. I mean, you've got a studio. You're in your studio.
Yeah.
And you do all the mixing and the EQing and the mastering. You do the whole 9 yards, as they
Yeah, well,
say.
that's like my other instrument.
Yeah.
You know, the other thing that I'm a jack at, but not a master at.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, that takes
Getting
that
better
takes,
and better and better all the time. I'm always learning new stuff, and that's part of the fun. That's like the exploration. That's what I'm saying. Is like the energy in a song is part the song itself and the part of yourself that you put into the song. But there's also, if it's something new and it's fresh to the artist, if there's like a new technique or a new avenue that the artist, the songwriter, has found and delved into, you can hear that excitement. You know, especially like the first band of these styles, like, you know, the when the Beatles were creating a new genre,
yeah.
when the Beach Boys were creating a new genre, when Genesis and Yes were creating a new sound in the '70s, and even you know, who's a good example? Duran Duran. You know, they're, or those bands, you know, the Buggles, you know, those bands from like 79 to 83 who were inventing new wave and bringing synth into rock and pop in a way that had never been there. There's an energy, even if the songs are, you know, you wouldn't just sit there and play them on an acoustic guitar. You know, it's the whole sound that something new has happened and you feel that. And that's where, I think that's why a lot of that 80s music is so still accessible and still popular, is because there was an energy to it that hasn't, maybe I'm showing my age, but I don't feel it's been matched since.
Yeah, you know, man, I struggle with that myself because you know, I'm middle aged, I guess. Got
Yeah.
you know, some grays in there. Um, but I worked in radio for years and years and years, and most of the music that came out was okay. It wasn't my thing,
Right.
but I just find the new pop music or the new country music, which is basically just pop,
Yeah. With a
just
with a draw.
just so uninspiring. And I hope that it's not because I'm getting older and I'm like, get off my lawn. But
Yeah.
I think there's something to what you said. I think it's lacking the energy or the
Well,
no.
yeah, there's very little discovery, and I
Yeah.
think there's beauty and there's excitement in the novelty, and you know, you see, boy, you have to dig deeper, and you know, there haven't been any new instruments invented in the last 30 years. You know,
That's right.
synthesizer technology has gotten a little better,
Oh,
but we've
yeah.
had samplers, we've had synthesizers, we've had analog synthesizers for 40, 50 years.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just guitars with that same crunch. It's bass, it's drums. You know, occasionally someone will really do something interesting. And thinking like, you know, St. Vincent did some really wild stuff, and that was like a dozen years ago.
Yeah.
Who's the woman? Joanne Newsom. She, people who like plays harp, like pop music on a harp, or
Yeah.
and it's really few and far between. I think it's not impossible. It's not
Right.
missing, but the further you dig, the harder it is to find something new that you haven't found before.
Yeah, I think part of what drives me nuts now too is like you really you can just go on to Logic or whatever,
Hmm.
and you can bang out a couple notes and you can pick a perfectly sounding sample of any instrument that you want. And some stuff can be done really well. Like Billie Eilish's stuff is produced great and it's innovative, but I get, whenever I'm watching YouTube videos, they pull the algorithms and throw music stuff at my face.
Right.
And it's always like an ad of some guy going like, "Oh man, you just play the song and it tells you the beats per minute and it tells you what key it's in. Isn't that cool?" And I'm like, "No, that's not cool." That's like Charles Dickens didn't just sit down and like hit a button and be like, "Oh, there's a paragraph."
Right. Right. Yeah, you still gotta, and as much as I love all my gear, I'm like pointing at my computer. Of course, I'm pointing at my computer. My computer, and I've got like tons of samples.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
if I need a drum kit sample, I've got like all the tools. If I flub a note, but it's an otherwise good take, I
Yeah.
can I can bump up the auto tune a little bit on that note.
Oh yeah,
But you
yeah.
know what? I saw that early on. When I started doing digital recording back in the late '90s. I said, you know what? I still need to write songs. It actually, the novelty of using all these whiz bangs and bells and whistles wore off pretty quickly. And I said, you know what? I'm going to have the most rewarding experience if I sit down with the acoustic guitar, sit down with the piano, or even the electric guitar, and bang out the song, jot it down on paper, or type it out.
Yeah.
But I always approach my record production with the song first. I show up to the studio, if you will, with something written. And then I can make it ornate. And I can dress it up with all the bells and whistles.
Yeah.
Uh, and a lot of what I did, especially in Elephants of Scotland, the prog rock band, I mean, you can't program that stuff because you have to pull it off live.
Yeah.
And ultimately, if the word rock is in your genre, you need to kick ass. You need to know how to peel the paint off the walls at the club,
Right.
or else you are failing. All right.
Yeah.
And you can't do that with your computer, like relying on your computer.
Yeah.
If you want to use it to touch things up, if you want it to, I've had a laptop on stage, to trigger some samples or to get that perfect synth sound, but it's my fingers on the keys, right? I've got to whip that up, live. People know, the audience is listening, the audience knows. And that's probably why what you do, as old as it is, will always be needed, will always connect, will always be in demand because it's you on stage talking directly to the audience. There's not a filter, there's not a computer screen between you and their ears.
I love it, man. I'm known with all my friends who are musicians as the one that really doesn't like the studio. I really don't enjoy recording. I give me a live audience and an acoustic guitar, and I'm happy as pie. But
Yeah.
is happy as pie, is that a saying?
Sure, it is now. You just
Sure.
made it up.
But you put me in the studio, and I'm like unfrosted cake, man.
Yeah.
And it's not
Yeah.
that I hate it. It's just I want to get the take done and I want to get out because
I hear you.
I like being in front of an audience. But the
Yeah.
studio is very important.
It's very important. You got to have something to sell at the shows.
Yeah.
And there are things you can do in the studio that you just can't, pull off live. It's not an either or, I guess is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
My philosophy, though I can't claim to have, reached it 100% of the time, is when you're live, put on the best live show you can. When you're in the studio, make the best studio album you can. Use what's in front of you. Use the audience if they're in front of you. Use that synthesizer, that you're never going to bring with you to a show. But if there's one spot in that one song where an old 70s synthesizer can play a little line and you go, wow, that was really cool, then use it.
Yeah.
You got nothing to prove. You're making a good album. If you want to put on a good live show, put on a good live show. That's
Yeah. I just want to put on any show. I don't even care if it's a bad show.
There's that. I hadn't played, as I was saying, I haven't played out in like 3 years played my music in like 3 years. And about, let's see, we're in February of 21 now. We went into lockdown in March. Like a few months before lockdown, I bought a new Taylor. Well, I'm sure you're going to ask me about my Taylor.
Oh, hell yeah.
And I spent a little bit more than I normally spend at the music store. But I was like, you know what? I'm going to spend the extra few bucks because I want to start playing out. I want to get a repertoire going. I have a spreadsheet with a bunch of like 25 songs that are like good to play, acoustically. And then, this all happens. So yeah, I'm finally at a point where like, yeah, I could really stand to play out. I want to see how these songs that I wrote on acoustic or piano and then brought to a band or brought into the studio to, make all fancy and stuff sound if I bring them back down to how I originally wrote them and shared them face to face. Do they work? And I want to know. I don't know.
Yeah, and you can do these live stream things, and it's super fun, and you get the likes and the hearts and stuff. But the energy is not the same as live.
No.
Though I am getting very used to it, and I'm not scared to go back on stage again because I live for that. But I have a feeling like the first show back, whenever that is going to be like, okay.
Okay, everyone's going to be like that, Todd.
Yeah.
You'll live. Everyone's going to have that same kind of like, we're all good here, right?
Even the audience is going to be like,
yeah, you're standing next to complete strangers. Yeah. But everybody.
What's my wingspan?
What's my wingspan? Yeah. If we can touch our fingers, we're too close. No, you're good. It's gonna be weird.
Yeah.
As much as we're looking forward to it, there is gonna be this period where everyone's gonna be like, why am I out? This instant agoraphobia across the entire population. And yeah.
Except
a bunch of people are gonna want to hug me. I'm gonna. Oh.
Yeah, I know, right? A handshake or a hug or something like.
We can still do fist bumps, right? Yeah.
Yeah. I did a fist bump with a dude the other day, and I was like, "Oh no, am I gonna die now?"
Oh, it's so sad.
Yeah, I know. It's crazy, right? But hey.
Yeah, we're doing okay. Knock on wood, as we say.
I hope that it seems like we're closer to the end of it, but it's amazing. I hadn't really thought about it, but you said February, and this all started in March.
Yeah.
So we're on the cusp of like 1 year.
Yeah.
Of everything being different.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah. I've followed some bands. I bought tickets. Well, no, that didn't actually happen, but I forget who was it. Someone was asking me. We had to cancel. Kate and I had to cancel a trip to Ireland. We had plane tickets. I bought the plane tickets like 2 weeks before everything shut down, and we were going to go in the beginning of June to Ireland for a week. And someone I work with said, so are you going to book your flight to Ireland? Now that things are starting to open up. I was like, whoa, let's wait for, I'll tell you what, I'm looking forward to going to York, Maine for a long weekend.
Yeah. And
then maybe we'll go up to Quebec City, for a long weekend. Because Kate and I were there a few years ago for that show that I was telling you about. And we just kind of zipped in and out of town, and we're like, we really got to explore Quebec City. This is amazing. Then maybe we'll go overseas. Yeah. But, yeah.
Yeah, my mother loved Quebec City. I've never been myself, but I guess
it's wonderfully historic. It's hundreds of years old, and it's this old town on top of a hill. I mean, obviously it's spread out to the valley or the ground below, but is just it's Europe. It's like a real piece of Europe plopped into the middle of nowhere. I mean, once you get out of the Montreal, metropolis, there's nothing for like a couple hours.
Really?
It's like fields and flat tundra, and then you crest this hill, and suddenly like this town lights up, like Las Vegas or something.
It's like the Wizard of Oz when it finally comes into view.
Yeah, the yellow brick road is the Canadian highway. Who knew?
Have you been to Ireland before?
No.
It's going to be your first.
We went to Wales. The last show I was telling you about, the very last show Elephants of Scotland played, coincidentally enough, was in Wales.
Oh, wow.
That was October of 2017. That was totally a labor of love. They said, we can't pay you. I mean, it's a prog rock festival. You're going to have a room of like 200 enthusiastic fans crammed into this room to hear you guys, bust it out. But we really can't pay you. We'll give you a merch table, and we're like, we just want to go, man. We just want to go. So we all saved up some money and we spent Kate and I had gotten married like 8 or 9 months before. So we turned it into our honeymoon once we planned it. So we did the 3-day festival, and then she and I traveled all around southwestern England and a bit of Wales. We went, cool. Cardiff. We actually saw Squeeze play live in Cardiff, which was the coolest thing they were kind of playing to their home crowd, if you will, of the UK. And then we went all over. We saw King Arthur's something or other.
King Arthur's Flower? That's in Rutland.
That's in White River Junction.
You went the long way around.
Yeah, I went the long way around to to the intersection of 91. Yeah,
just to see Flower.
Yeah. No, Glastonbury. That's the word I was thinking of.
Oh yeah.
Went to Glastonbury.
Cool.
And a few other places like that. Yeah.
That's amazing. Well, I hope you get to Ireland.
Yeah, and actually since then we've been thinking Ireland or maybe Scotland. Anyway, so tell you how long we've been in lockdown and how old we are. We've started watching a lot of travel shows.
Oh yeah,
and that's our fun right now.
Well, it's actually a good segue. I want to hear you sing in a few minutes, but you and your wife did this thing where you went to every single town in the state of Vermont. And I'm a native Vermonter, born and raised here. And it feels like I've been to every town in the state of Vermont, but I know that I haven't. And I was watching you guys do it along on Facebook or Instagram. Yeah. And it's like, that took you years, didn't it?
Yeah. The Vermont 251 Club, we hit all 251 cities and towns. And we even went to a couple of the gores, which aren't even like anything.
Right.
And it started, it's not like it took us 5 years to get everywhere. It took us 5 years to find the time. The first few towns are, the first 30 or 40 are pretty easy because you can drive there in 45 minutes, go up, from Burlington to Colchester to Milton to Georgia to Fairfax and then back around. It's just a day trip. But then once we got like a year or two into it, just finding spare weekends, we're like, we got to make a 2-day trip of this. And that's when the fun started. That's when let's go down to Manchester and make a 3-day weekend of it and discover like what's in the town. We went up to the Mount Equinox. You drive up and it's amazing view. You can see, I got my, New York, Massachusetts, New Hampshire, and Quebec from like the top of this mountain. Wow. And it's stunning views. And you spend the weekend there. We stayed in a little cabin hotel, ironically called the Casablanca, which it's not the Casablanca. It's a bunch of little cabins and on the side of the road. And so it was really cool. I moved to Vermont in '99. Kate's lived here since. And
she babysat me.
Yeah. Since she was born here, and it was great to get out of that comfort zone. Those few places that you always go. Yeah, we know Montpelier. Yes, we know Waterbury. Yes, we know obviously Burlington and the 5 or whatever towns right around there. But to go all the way out to Canaan, to go to Manchester, to go up these hills, to go to Lewis, Vermont. And if you've never been to Lewis, nobody lives in Lewis. There's literally a population of 0 in Lewis.
What is it? Is it just like a...
That's the question, right? There's some really weird spots. We went to, I'll tell you, even like the last trip or the second to last trip, we went to Baltimore, which...
Vermont?
Yeah, Baltimore, Vermont. Yeah, I know, right?
Where is it?
It's like this little sliver. It's like a corner of this other town got chopped off and named Baltimore. And there's like no real roads into it. You have to go into the other town and go through some dirt roads to get to them. Like, to really get all 251, you need some good tires on your car. And you probably shouldn't have done it in a Prius like we did, but that's beside the point.
Yeah, but you saved on gas.
Oh, yeah. It's the smart way to go, if not the smart way to go. Yeah.
That's amazing. So there's literally towns that have no population whatsoever.
Yeah, there's Victory, which I think has 8. There's there are a few that have like single digits, and Lewis, and I think there's one other that has 0. Wow. Like Lewis used to be, a town, and then everyone left because the one industry, whatever it was, dried up. And then you have the Gores, Avery's. Warren Gore or Avery's Gore, I forget, which were just like spots that nobody wanted, So you just gotta drive through them and hope for the best. But yeah, there was some creepy moments, that's for sure.
Really?
Yeah.
You find any like old cemeteries? Like,
oh, it's all about the cemeteries. Yeah, I mean every town has 1 or 2 and small town cemeteries. It's everything you'd expect from a Halloween type movie. You just creep in and you park the car. You kind of see it off in the distance. You figure out how you actually get there. Like which dirt road, whose driveway you got to get through, and hope you don't lose your way back because there's no signal. Like a third of the towns, you're just like, I'm following the map. Kate's driving. I'm following the map. I was like, this should be, if I'm counting my clicks correctly, this should be where we turn. Whew. The turn was there. Okay, good. Because you can't, I'm looking at my phone. I'm like, I got nothing, So
That's
you
cool.
just hope for the best.
What?
Oh, it was so much fun. And like I was saying, we've been here so long, to see all these places that we've heard about or haven't heard about, try something new, go somewhere new. We don't necessarily need to go to Ireland or Quebec City. There's so much right here in Vermont that's amazing and spooky and historical and surprising. Hippies where you least expect them. The opposite side of the spectrum where you least expect it.
The anti-hippies?
Yeah. I don't even want to say the name. But those posters are up and just like, okay, let's keep driving. They don't like my type around here. Let's keep going.
Oh, they spotted the Prius.
Yeah.
What sparked the idea to visit every town and city in the state? Just on a whim, or?
It was a bit of a whim.
Yeah.
And something I've always heard about. And I think it was more I brought up the idea, even though the wife is the native Vermonter. I think the fact that I am new here, relatively, I've only been here half my life, right?
Where are you from?
Well, less than half my life. What's that?
Where are you from originally?
I grew up outside Philadelphia.
Okay.
And then when I was 15, we moved down to Florida. I was spent 15 to my late 20s, late 20s in South Florida, because that's what my people do. And then I was like, I'm getting the heck out of here because Florida. And and I overcompensated. I was like, I'm going back up north. I went right past Pennsylvania. I'm not stopping until I get to the border. And then, they said I can't just drive into Canada. So, yeah.
Listen, the Sunshine State was fun. Let's go to the 4 hours of Sunshine State.
Yeah, right. I mean, I may have gone too far, but I'm happy. I like being here.
It worked out.
Yeah, totally worked out. I love it here. So what I was getting at is my novelty. Vermont is relatively new, and I always wanted to explore it because I don't take it for granted because I'm not from here.
Right.
And that was actually Kate's reaction once we started really getting in deep. Once we got past those first couple dozen obvious places, she was like, I've never been here. I've never been here. I've never been here. I've never been here. And so she was like enlightened to everything that her own home state had to offer.
Sure.
And yeah, it was that first day I said, let's go to Colchester, Milton, Georgia, Fairfax, a couple, I forget what the other ones were. We're like, oh, that was fun.
Like
and
a
then,
loop.
yeah, it was like a couple hours out. We were bored. And then the next day you go a little further. Next time you go a little further. And then it just like, it gets you. You want more and more and more. You want to see what else there is.
It sounds fun.
It was totally fun. It was something to do. And it was a good way. It was as obsessive, to bring it back to why I'm here. I can get obsessive about music. I can get like lost down here in the basement in the studio and just not poke my head up for hours and hours or days at a time. So it's nice to have other things that aren't music, that aren't that like right-brained creative thing, but they're just exploring, a little surprise, have fun navigating these weird roads, just something else to do with your brain to keep it agile and not locked in.
Right. Well, let's play some music, man.
Play some music, man. All right. So,
what are we gonna do? I know you do a lot of prog rock type stuff, but it's hard
Not
to
doing
pull
that.
off solo. Yeah.
yeah. There's a couple tunes that work okay acoustically, but by and large, I keep the 5/4 11-minute long epics to myself, to the band. But yeah, I mean, much like I was saying with like traveling or whatever else you do, doing something different, even within music, it's a good way to it's like when you go on vacation, you enjoy a vacation until it's time to come home again, and then you're happy to be home again.
Yeah.
And to always have that, hot, cold, hot, cold, hot, cold, hot, cold. So I love doing the studio thing, but then I miss playing live. And I was like, okay, I'll play live. I love doing prog rock, but I miss the intimate little songs. So then I do the little songs until I miss being in a band and playing big loud rock shows. So I wrote this one. I think this is the perfect song to play here in February.
Okay.
It's called Winter Song, and it's the most recent release of mine. Let me lube up the voice a little bit. And I had this little bit of music. I started writing it in November, just this couple months ago.
Yeah.
And I was sitting on it. I was like, yeah, that's good. I'll put it away. Someday a lyric will come to me and I'll have some music for it. And then in like early December, I like kind of kicked myself in the pants. I said, dude, it's a great little melody. Write the song, while it's hot, while it's fresh, while it's got that, discovery, you're in that honeymoon period with this piece of music.
Yeah.
Do it, So I finally got up the nerve and I just sat down and I was like, okay, what does this song sound like? What's it about? And then it was like early December, and December in Vermont and even late November, it's like, it's winter, but it hasn't really hit. It's not deep winter. And so I wrote this about, not simply about winter, but that moment before right now, that moment we're in where it's like, oh, we're going deep, dude.
Yeah.
We're going to be under a few feet of snow for the next 3 or 4 months, so enjoy there's that moment where he's like, oh, here it comes. and then there's the second thought, which is, did I make the most of spring, summer, and fall this year? And do I have enough memories of the last 7 months, since spring really kicked in, to look back and say, yeah, I didn't waste that time. It's okay to chill out and just hunker down for a few months. So that's what this song is about. It's about that moment when you're asking yourself, did I make the most of this year?
Cool.
So this is Winter Song. Cold days ahead, warm nights behind, Now it's just the waiting for winter to unwind. Summer came and went, the sun it never shined. Another year spent waiting for winter to unwind. The wind cut through your skin, the snow it caught you blind. Once more unprepared for winter to unwind. And so once again, you swear that next year you'll bathe in that old sunshine. The first chill in the air on the heels of fall, while the leaves float down, you wish you could recall. Memories of spring, eclipsed by regret, that leaves without a sound. So each year you forget. And so once again, you swear that next year you'll bathe in the sunshine and run about the fields and never let that warmth go away or fade from your mind. But winter will unwind. Denial turns to wrath, then dealing to despair, until you let it be. You'll spend forever there. Cold days ahead, warm nights behind. Now it's just the waiting for winter to unwind. And for all the good it does, to pray it will be kind. 'Twas God has cleared the way for winter to unwind. So shine and run about the fields and never let that moment stray or fade from your mind. Just shine, shine, shine and run about the fields and never let that warmth go away or fade from your mind. For winter will unwind.
Yeah, man.
Thanks.
That's great. You tricked me for a second, because when
How's
you
it?
started, I was like, oh, he's in Dadgad or some open tuning. And then I went, oh, no, he's not. He's in standard. Tricky.
Yeah, more or less.
It's
I
got
can
a
see where.
Celtic-y-
Yeah, there was definitely a Celtic key where you're expecting a Dadgad. Yeah, I just don't think I'm good enough. I've messed around with Dadgad or Open G,
Yeah.
and I was like, I really got to spend time with it. I get the appeal, because I love open. I love that open. Like that's why I use a lot of suspended chords.
Yeah.
You know, because you get these things can ring out. You know, and this is like an F11 kind of weird thing. I love those expansive chords where like the guitar can just like fill up the whole spectrum.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's one of those things I've always wanted to get into, but I just haven't yet. So I try to make the most of the traditional tunings.
Yeah.
Best I'll do is like a drop D. You
Oh,
know,
yeah.
Maybe I'll drop this one. Maybe I'll drop both of them.
Yeah. Yeah, I just started doing open tunings about a year ago. And
How's that going?
It's finally clicked because I had somebody teach me the basics of it, because when you go on YouTube, nobody teaches open tunings properly. They just say, "Oh, you want to play an A? Put your finger on the 5th fret," and that's defeats the purpose of having all those open strings.
It's the why. It's hard to explain. Why does something work, especially in music, which is by its nature nonsense. What are we going for? What's supposed to happen? And it hasn't clicked for me yet. I tend to do this thing a lot.
Yeah.
You slide up the form, but you leave the other strings open.
But that was like in an A shape, right?
Yeah, it was an A shape, and I
never tried that.
Which is really more of a Pink Floyd.
Yeah.
Like a learning to fly kind of thing, or I don't know if that's the right thing, but he does that a lot. He'll like slide up and slide down on the same chord.
I never tried it with an A. I do it with the D a lot, and I do it with the E a lot.
Yeah, obviously the E. Do that, and I don't think I'm looking at the other songs I'm going to do, but I do that all the time. The A, it's rare. I think the only reason I did it then was because I want to go up. I don't feel like barring a B string, B chord. That's always a pain in the butt.
That's the worst.
Yeah. B
but
major.
Then you put it like an F11, and the only way I know how to use an F11 is on my keyboard. It's right here. F11.
Full screen.
Full screen.
Exit full screen.
Yeah.
Full screen, exit full screen. Full screen. Full screen.
All right, now play an F2.
Yeah.
Can you play an escape chord?
An escape chord, yeah. Well, F2 I can play. I can't play it. Oh, you know what I could play? I could play the Pina Colada song. Escape, the Pina Colada song. But
okay.
I won't. No, sir.
Well,
you thought I was about to play Escape, the Pina Colada song.
I was wondering, yeah. Well, what is the next song?
The next song, let's see. Oh, here's a fun one. This is a funny story. I wasn't originally thinking of doing it for this show, but then I thought, well, it's kind of a folky show, and folk is a lot about storytelling, American storytelling.
Yep.
And this one fits squarely into that category. What's interesting about it? I mean, the story itself is pretty dark. Just listen to it; you'll get what's going on. But the way I wrote and recorded this in one day. I had a day off. I think it was a Saturday, and I think Kate was out of town. So I was like 8 o'clock in the morning. I got nothing to do today. So I posted to Facebook. I said, all right, here's what I want. I want all the women give me a location, a city in the U.S. And I want all the men to suggest an article of clothing, a certain article of clothing.
Okay.
And I took all of the suggestions and I worked them all in. The first line, she said out from Tuscaloosa. Someone mentioned Tuscaloosa. And, there's other articles of clothing in here. So
okay.
It was basically a writing prompt. I asked my friends for like 20 writing prompts. I had a bunch of cities and a bunch of articles of clothing.
Cool.
And with that, I wrote this macabre. I want to say it's dark, but it's also upliftingly feminist. Bit of Americana.
Okay.
This is called A Little Too Long. She set out from Tuscaloosa on the road to Walla Walla. She left her boring old abuser for her new gentleman caller, a case of Red Bull and of Cliff Bars. Her iPod looped her favorite song underneath her father's trench coat. She wore a garter and a corset and a thong. And as she saw the change of seasons, she came to terms with all the reasons. And maybe she had waited just a little too long. hours north and west, with a stopover in Austin to see her friend from way back when. Back from the time our innocence was lost in, the gal had just moved down to Texas after serving 3 of 10 for laying out her late ex-boyfriend. But it was only self-defense, and so she saw a dozen seasons. She did her time for all the reasons, but maybe she had waited just a little too long. Half a day, straight up the 35, straight through Omaha where nobody was still alive. Made her connection up in Minneapolis. It's not for us to judge, for she would only laugh at us. Hopped up on speedballs, now she gunned it through the northern plains. Still in her underwear with love pumping through her veins. Her suitor from Seattle couldn't wait another day. He did what bad boys do to pass the idle time away. Wearing nothing but his ascot, hooked up to the chandelier. The stool had tipped over and fallen, but his smile stretched from ear to ear. And so she got back in her car and turned right back around. If she was gonna be alone, she wouldn't let it get her down. She saw 100 changing seasons. She came to terms with all the reasons, but never again would she wait so long. She wouldn't wait so long. Why do we wait so long?
That's great. That's not what I expected at all. Like when you said towns and food, like I was
Articles of clothing, yeah.
Oh, clothing.
Yep, sorry.
Did
I say food?
I heard food.
Oh, well, I can't speak to that. That's on you, buddy.
Yeah. You're gonna rhyme with Tuscaloosa.
Yeah. Well, I was
That's
impressed
great.
that I rhymed Walla Walla with gentleman collar.
Yeah, that was good.
Gentleman collar. Yeah. Yeah.
I love playing with words though, so that's
Yeah.
a great song for that. It creates a lot of images that you don't expect to come up. Like I really thought you were gonna rhyme Austin with. I thought you were gonna go to Boston, and you didn't. You said
I think that was in an early
Boston.
draft. You say
Yeah.
that. It was in. You're right. It was in an early draft. It was like the first draft,
But then,
and I was like, no, it's cheap. I can do better.
yeah,
And back from the time our innocence was lost in,
yeah,
you know.
That's
so
that's cool.
thanks. It's stuff like being given a word like Walla Walla, or these other things where Minneapolis, she would only laugh at us.
Yeah,
It forces you. It's great to get out of your head and have someone feed you words or some kind of external thing, because it'll take you. You'll come up with rhymes you never would have thought you could come up with.
yeah,
If you make a catchy enough chorus or an accessible enough chorus, you can get that much weirder in the verse.
yeah.
As long as you bring it around, the hook brings you back, right? As long as the hook brings you back, have fun, man. Have fun between the hooks.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, before we do the last song, we've got to do guitar talk now.
Yes. Let's talk.
It's funny. I thought maybe I should stop talking about guitars, but then somebody wrote in the comments last Sunday, like, "Oh, good. I was hoping you were going to talk about guitars," and I'm like, "Yes, vindicated."
Yeah, absolutely.
What kind of guitar you got there?
I have a Taylor Academy.
Yeah.
Which it's not top of the line by any stretch, but it's got this nice Let me see if I can illustrate it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's got that nice little rounded edge because I'm easily annoyed. I get like fidgety, and so this is like perfect. This is like the Adam Rabin special. It's like, if I was going to custom design a guitar from Taylor, I would say you got to do this thing because
Yeah.
it's much more. I don't have that pokey corner in my.
Does it feel good?
Yeah. I don't even feel it.
See, I'm left-handed, so I've never been able to try one because I've never seen. But Taylor's been doing a lot more of that lately, and it looks like such a comfortable.
It was a nice feature, and really it came down to the guitar. I banged on a bunch of guitars at the shop, and this is maybe it was a little brighter when I bought it because they had the Elixir. As long as we're getting geeky, I'm going to get geeky.
Oh, yeah.
They had the Elixir Nano Web strings on them, 1235.
Yep.
And after a while, I was like, it's just too bright. It's too bright. And I went through a bunch of different strings. I even tried Martin strings. So I had Martin strings on a Taylor guitar.
It didn't burst into flames?
Well, once I put the flames out, I went back, and the guy at the music store said, just try these, or maybe I read it online. I did Nano Web. So it's the same brand, but it's like one shade darker.
The Polyweb.
Same size. Polyweb.
Yeah.
Right. So so these are Polywebs, and that just evened everything out. So, Taylors, as you know, are a little lighter, a little brighter, but just by switching from the Nanowebs to the Polywebs, it just took that edge off.
Huh.
And I originally bought this to be a strummer, so if I had if I was doing a band recording, a full recording, this would fit right into the mix. So it's not totally designed for like a solo guitar, solo playing.
Right.
But I've been playing it nonstop for 2 years, so I've made it. I've found how to hit the strings. I've met the guitar halfway to be a solo, what we're doing here today, kind of guitar.
Yeah, Taylors are like super known. That's why you see so many of the country players playing Taylors, or like if it's a rock band and somebody's playing an acoustic guitar, it's almost always a Taylor because it just cuts through the.
Right. It knows its place in the spectrum. It's got its thin band. Maybe my next guitar might be maybe it'll be, if I get an additional guitar, not a replacement guitar. I might get maybe a Martin or a Guild or something. What did you say?
Do it. Yeah.
Do it. Yeah. So just to kind of give a different color, something that can stand on its own a little more. I'm looking forward to someday having 2 acoustic guitars, so I can, for those finger pick songs, I would love to have a Martin or something more country oriented, folky oriented. Did I say Martin? Martin,
yeah.
Yeah,
I highly recommend Martin.
Yeah, the downside of playing everything is that I don't have the budget to have a guitar collection. I have one 6-string, I have one 12-string, I have one electric. I have one drum kit, I have 2. Well, actually, I have 3 keyboards, but one of them I never use. I have a piano keyboard and a synthesizer.
Yeah.
So it's like one of each, and you got to make it work because got to eat.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I should eat.
You should.
I mean, I do eat. I eat a lot.
You're not like Frank Zappa and just like living off of coffee in your studio.
Well, I mean, I'm not saying I don't.
Well, let's do one more song before we wrap it up, and then Danielle and I are gonna go make breakfast and then get ready for you can watch the Super Bowl. Go Titans.
Go Titans. Yeah, they're not going to lose this year.
They're not.
They're definitely not going to lose this year.
They already took care of that.
Yeah, they already took care of it.
It's the only football jersey I have, and it's Super Bowl Sunday. I said, "Damn it, I'm wearing it."
Yeah, no, I don't have. No, I won't be watching.
You're not
I'm not a football guy. Yeah,
that's okay.
It's okay. I just don't tell anybody.
Football is the one uncharacteristic thing about me.
Yeah.
Because me on paper, an artist and an entertainer and a musician, and I should not like football, and I love it.
I have a few friends, a few of my musician friends. In fact, my closest friend, who not any of these songs, but he co-wrote a lot of my songs with me. He's a huge football fan.
Yeah.
I mean, he's the biggest, weirdo like me, musician and freak and everything. But Greg likes his football, so after this, after today, I finally get him back.
Yeah, you've lost him since October, right?
Yeah, we don't do much, unless it's like a spare Thursday.
I don't know what it
tomorrow.
Yeah, I don't know what it is. It's like literally the only sport that I like.
Yeah,
I think it's because like I would never do something like that, so it's cool to see.
Yeah,
I don't know. I like
Who
it.
knows? You don't. Yeah, you don't. You shouldn't need to explain it.
No.
If you like it, you like it.
I'm just kidding. I actually hate it. No,
No, I mean, I like football. Before when it was cool.
Yeah, I like football before it sold out.
Before it's sold out.
Before it went mainstream.
Yeah, I mean, once they switched away from the leather only helmets. Yeah. I was,
And the
that and vinyl, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's been a crapshoot ever since.
I can't help you. Yeah. Once the scoreboards went digital, I was like, no. It's cold. It's too cold. You don't have the warmth of the scoreboard now that, once they got rid of all the individual light bulbs.
Yeah, an AstroTurf. Come on.
Come on. That's not what it's about.
It's real grass or nothing, man.
Yeah. So this last song I'm gonna do.
Yeah, let's segue, please.
Is something that I did twice now. I'm not doing it this month. This year is the RPM challenge. It's the record production month challenge. It's this kind of like NaNoWriMo, the National November Novel Writing Month.
Okay.
The idea is, and there's just like a couple websites that have message boards and a couple little rules that you follow, is to write and record an entire album from scratch in the month of February, which right, it's insane.
Wow. I remember doing that last year.
Yeah, I did it last year, and I enlisted literally 20 of my friends to help me out with writing and performing, and that was so much fun. That was like, I could spend a whole other hour just talking about that. But that was the second time I did it. The first time I did it was back in 2012, just on my own, and it was enlightening because you get in these habits as a writer of like, I got to get it just right. You got to get it just right. Revise. Like we were just talking about before. Don't just take the first thing that you write. Give it a minute. Revise. Improve it. Get rid of the cliches. But this is the absolute opposite. This is, all right. You have. Well, I've only done leap years so far, 2012 and 2020. So you have 29 days. That's my angle, right?
That's cheating.
Yeah, it's totally cheating. You have 29 days starting from nothing. No songs written. So you don't have time to second guess yourself. You don't have time to worry. You have to trust. That's what it's about. It's not about how fast you can write. It's how much you can trust yourself and just say, I know what I'm doing. I've written songs before. I can write a song. I can write 10 songs or 35 minutes of music. It's not going to be the greatest thing ever, but it's going to be a lot of fun, and just go. There's no time for judgment, very little time for revision. And it's always an excellent exercise. It's nerve-wracking and it's crazy, but I always get something out of it. I usually get a couple really good songs that do hold up outside of the month. And it's a reminder that songwriting, there does need to be that aspect of instinct and gut. You can only spend so much time in your brain, in your head, writing before you lose, the other part of music. I don't want to say the only part, the other half of music, which is that untouchable part that you don't have time to touch. You don't have time to think about or analyze, the unanalyzable part of music. And that's all I can say about that. And this is one of the songs I wrote, and I love it because it's fun and it's upbeat, unlike the last two that I did. So I thought this would be a fun one to go out on.
Cool.
And again, I asked friends for like titles or words. So this one is called "Making Love Out of Nothing at All." The existentialist romantic comedy.
Oh,
so
it's not the Air Supply song, or
no. Actually, what I did was I asked my friends. It was one day I said, "Give me a bunch of '80s song titles, and I'll write a new song with that title." So I did a few of those for the album, and this one I used "Making Love Out of Nothing at All." Subtitle is "The Existentialist Romantic Comedy." Because really, if you're making something out of nothing, there is that kind of existentialist element. Anyway, here's the song.
Okay.
Bring me my sword and my pen. Bring me a fox and a hen. And everything in between. And some other things you've never seen. Give me the sticks and stones. Give me your skin and your bones. And everything else inside. And all of the things you thought you could hide. And I'll make you love. I'll make you love. Out of nothing at all. Give me the win or the place. Give me the time and space. And everything you can find. And all of the things you left behind. And I'll make you love. I'll make you love. Love, baby. Out of nothing at all. Show me the meaningless and absurd. Tell me the worst joke you've ever heard. I'll buy you a rose by any other name. I'll show you it's all one and the same. It's all one and the same. Take all the captains and whales. Take all the snips and snails. And everything I've been taught. And all of the things I'm sure I forgot. And I'll make you love. I'll make you love. Love out of nothing at all. Show me the meaningless and absurd. Tell me the worst joke you've ever heard. I'll buy you a rose by any other name. I'll show you it's all one and the same. Show me the meaningless and absurd. Tell me the worst joke you've ever heard. There's just no winning or losing this game. I'll show you it's all one and the same. It's all one and the same.
I wasn't ready for the ending.
Yeah, that's okay.
I love it.
Yeah, I don't write many love songs. And actually, I wrote this when I was with my ex. And so she said, yeah, why don't you, for your February project, write me a love song. So I wrote this, which is a love song. It's a song about love.
Right.
It wasn't about her, you know.
Was she the worst joke that you ever heard?
Yeah, tell me the worst joke you've ever heard. Well, the idea of the song, no, it's not her, no. But the idea of the song is you know, love is the good and the bad. You know, it's taken everything. You know, it's for the real article is, you know, the sticks and the stones, your skin and your bones, everything. You know, I want the bad stuff and the good stuff. Yeah. So yeah, tell me a horrible joke. Tell me, you know, anything. And so I kind of took that as the prompt of, you know, what does love mean to me? And it's, yeah, that's why I think that's probably another reason I always have a fond feeling about this song, is that it is such a, it's silly, it's fun, but it's also, I feel like I actually say something mildly profound. I don't know.
Hey, there you go.
Yeah.
That's all that needs to be said.
Right.
Mildly profound.
Adam Rabin, mildly profound. Yeah, that's mine. That'll be my one-man show.
There you go. I like that. So if people want to, I know you're on Bandcamp. I know you have a website that I can't remember the name of it.
I madeitup.com.
Yeah, that's it.
So everything is accessible from imadeitup.com. All the links to my Bandcamp and links to my social media stuff it's all there.
imadeitup.com.
Yeah.
I like that name.
Yeah, that was a fun one.
That seems like one of those domains that you can hang on to, and at some point you can sell that for some cash.
Yeah, probably. Yeah. I've had it for like 20 plus years. That's the thing about being a web guy is I realized early on, is like, some of these names might be worth something. You know, I should nab these. Yeah. Obviously, I thought of that after AdamRabin.com was already taken, sadly, but
yeah.
Oh well.
It's to have the forethought to think in like the early 90s or something, be like, stowvermont.com. I own that.
Yeah.
VermontTeddyBear.com. Like if you were smart enough to snap up a lot of those domains, I bet you could have made some good money.
Yeah, people were doing that. I mean, I actually worked, this is totally boring. I worked at a web hosting company back in like 96.
Yeah.
When people were first registering domain names by the ton. And yeah, there was a lot of that going on.
I bet.
A lot of gaming, people buying like Hasbro and Nabisco.com, and all that other stuff.
Yeah.
That weren't from those companies,
Right, just waiting for like...
Yeah, they're basically holding them hostage. But we got other things to screw with people now.
Yo, it's too many.
Yeah.
Cool, man. Well, if you have any coffee left, we can do a virtual cheers.
Amen. I'll drink to that.
All right. Cheers, man. Thanks for coming on the show.
Yeah, my pleasure.
All right. There he is. Adam Rabin. imadeitup.com. Thank you so much, Adam, for coming on the show, and thank me for having you on your show a couple of years ago in Burlington. So much fun. All right, any more coffee? I'll drink that all right up, and then I'm gonna sing another song, and then Danielle and I are gonna go make some breakfast. So the downside of me doing this show every Sunday morning is Danielle never gets breakfast in bed. And, nuts. Whoop. And, of course, next Sunday is Valentine's Day. And we're going to be doing this show. So maybe I'll give you a Valentine's Day present on the show. Thank you to Adam Rabin, my guest next week on Valentine's Day. It's not really a Valentine's Day special, but maybe Rob will sing a song. Maybe he'll sing a Valentine's Day song. His name is Rob Heath. He's from Edmonton, Alberta, Canada. I can't wait to meet him and introduce you all to his music and hear some of his songs as well. Hey, a little bit of news here. This show is also going to be turning into a podcast. I'm hoping to get it up next week. I don't know if it'll happen exactly. I have to figure out a bunch of technical jargon to get that all to work. And obviously we had some technical difficulties here this morning. We're usually sending out to four different platforms all at once, but we only hit 3 today, and the other one's just sitting there and spinning. I don't know why. I'm not sure. We'll have to figure that out. But thank you for finding us. If you did find us and we're not on the page that you're used to watching us on, I thank you for finding us here. And if you shared it, thank you as well. I'm probably do a test later on this week and see if this was just an anomaly, but you might want to, if you're watching this right now, whether you are redirected from me sharing it to my personal page or other people sharing it, you might want to just go ahead and like Todd Pronto. It's my music page is not my profile. So if you like me, it'll be easier to find me. You like me, right? Hey, you can get one of these coffee mugs in the link. I think the link is fixed. It's above or below, depending on the platform you're watching on. And of course, donations are always accepted here. They help me pay the internet bill, the lighting bill, the bill that sends this show all to different platforms, but today missing one. Wanna escape this dungeon and rise up to the floor. You want an 18-wheeler to come and knock on your door. Well, yes, you want to cruise so fast down Route 104. Well, all you need is money, baby, and a suitcase, and maybe they'll deliver your dreams at the door. You want to jump that river and rolling fields and trenches, a wooden handled hammer to knock them into their senses. Let's go to Broadway, baby, talking Nashville, Tennessee. Go Titans! All you need is money, baby, and a suitcase, and maybe they'll deliver your dreams at the door. Now your sunroof's open, it's raining, but I know you don't care. I see your suitcase open, your money's all flying out the door. You wanna be a superstar on the microphone, yes you do. Well, all you need is money, baby, and a microphone, and maybe they'll deliver your dreams at the door. Break it down. Now just like Magellan, gonna sail around the world. Well, you know that the world isn't flat, but you can't tell that from here. We'll say sayonara, baby. Say here I go, yes, here I go. Well, all you need is money, baby, and a suitcase, and maybe they'll deliver your dreams at the door. Well, all you need is money, baby, and a suitcase, and maybe they'll deliver your dreams at the door. Well, all you need is money, baby. Well, and a suitcase, and maybe, well, they'll deliver your dreams at the door. Thank you very much. All right, y'all. Thank you so much. This has been an epic coffee with Todd this morning. We have just beat away the cold winter blues with coffee and conversation here on Coffee with Todd. And we're going to do it again next week. Guest next week from Canada, Alberta, Mr. Rob Heath. Thank you to Adam Rabin, my guest today, for coming on.
Todd, maybe you should learn Alberta.
Oh, that song. Alberta, Alberta, where you been so long. Oh, yeah. Maybe I'll do that. Thanks, Marky. All right, y'all. Super Bowl Sunday. Enjoy. Be safe. Eat lots of food. Love the commercials. Go Titans. Very aware that the Titans aren't in the Super Bowl. Next year. There's always next year. The Titans will be in the Super Bowl as long as we can get rid of Brady and Mahomes. Who beat the Titans? Was it the Bills? And Josh Allen. The Titans are coming. I don't know. I think it was a Bill. It doesn't matter. Hey, we're going to go get breakfast. You guys have a fantastic Sunday. Thank you so much for tuning in each and every Sunday. It means the absolute world to me. I look forward to having coffee and conversation with you every morning. And despite the technical difficulties, you guys were there, and I love you for it. So be safe, be well, and have a fantastic day. We'll see you next Sunday, everybody. Cheers.